WWE Evolution 2025, the second iteration of Evolution and the second time it has been used as a marketing ploy by WWE. But that did not ruin the vibes of this show. It's a pretty controversial take based on what I'm seeing online, and a pretty stupid one, I admit that. But I like this show a lot more than I did All In. I talked about in my All In review some of the production choices and some of the booking choices that led me to be a little bit low on this show. I just had a great time with this show. I had really good vibes all around. And I hope that comes through in this video. In my all-in video, I was sort of being negative throughout the whole thing with, lavishing some praise on certain matches that really, really deserved it. In this video, I hope to be positive the entire time, even though there was some stuff on this card that was really not so great. But I got my Hannah Montana shirt on. There's a thunderstorm outside. I'm ready to party. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to be going through each match, giving my overall thoughts on the match, as well as a star rating and potentially some directions for the future. If you guys like the video, please consider leaving a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing, as it really does help a new channel like mine to grow. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it with our Women's Intercontinental Championship triple threat match. Show started with Becky Lynch defending her IC championship against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria in a triple threat match. And what more could you ask for an opening match? It was so much fun. I loved this match. I thought it was incredible. And when it started, I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did, because generally Bayley and Becky, I sort of put on this level of when they're on, but when they're off, they're really off. And a lot of times their work can have this sloppiness, and this sort of just doesn't really look like it connects. It's a little bit slow. It's not very impactful. All of that was gone tonight. If you took this and put it on any pay-per-view card anywhere in the world, if you put this in Stardom, where the Joshi women are known for their really hard-hitting offense, it would feel right at place, because everything in here really, really connected. Everything was really impactful, and the way that they sort of incorporated spots and flowed in between sequences was just perfect. I really, really liked the production in this match, because there was a couple times when someone was coming in to break up a pinfall. Bayley did it with a diving elbow. Lyra did it with a diving leg drop. And the camera caught it just perfectly to make the audience surprised to see this breakup. I thought it was great. And one thing I also loved is that Becky was the definitive heel in the match, and the crowd was treating her that way, because there's the danger at a pay-per-view like this that is celebrating women's wrestling for Becky Lynch, someone who is so pivotal in the evolution of women in WWE, to be cheered because of this almost like folklore mythical hero that she was. But not the case tonight. The crowd was completely on it. Fantastic crowd for the show, by the way, all night long. Really, really great stuff. Really, really up for it. And they booed Becky like she was the villain that she was. I really loved it. There were story beats throughout the match. I'm looking at my phone for notes, by the way. If you catch me peeking off to the side, that's what I'm looking at. Really great story beat of every woman hitting their finisher and having the match won at some point, but only to have it broken up by the third person in the match. It really put over a really chaotic nature. And what added to that was the amount of roll-ups and the amount of flash pins. This feud, Becky versus Lyra mainly, has been predicated on winning matches out of nowhere. Surprise roll-ups and flash pins getting the win. So whenever one happened in this match, they sort of built up the drama of that this could be it. And I went into this match knowing Becky Lynch was going to win, but they made me believe so much throughout the course that it was anyone's game and anyone had a shot. There were points where I was sure Lyra and Bayley were going to win off of a flash backslide or something like that. But The finish we did get was absolutely awesome. Bayley hits the rose plant on Lyra, goes for the pin, and Becky hits one of the coolest pins I've ever seen. She like does a backslide over Bayley and catches her arm and turns it into a backslide of her own. It was so cool, so out of nowhere, and literally popped me on my couch. It made me jump up and go, oh my God, because it was so innovative. And it's nothing I had ever really seen before. And I've watched a lot of wrestling. So to incorporate something I've never seen before, it's a difficult task. Not to make me sound like, the end all be all of whatever. And it made sense. It made sense that it would catch Bayley by surprise because it caught me by surprise. So it gave the characters credibility in the match. Becky Lynch seeming like this really smart tactical heel, and Bayley not losing any credibility by getting beaten by a fairly simple wrestling move. I thought everything was just pitch perfect. I think this is an immediate match of the year contender for WWE, especially. Not the best thing we've seen this year, and probably not even the best thing we saw on this show, but really, really strong effort from all three people here. They worked together. They really brought it. They had a great match. Everything looked like it connected. Great story beats throughout, and a fantastic finish. I give it 4.75 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, and I'm so excited to go back and watch it again. Next up, we have for the NXT Women's title, Jordynne Grace taking on the champion Jacy Jayne. And in my predictions video, I said that I thought Jordynne Grace was going to win this match. And the second I saw Blake Monroe come out there, I knew I was wrong. I knew, oh, sorry, there's hair on my camera. I knew Blake Monroe is going to turn on Jordynne Grace and Jacy Jayne's going to win. I don't necessarily think WWE telegraphed it. I just it for those who have been watching wrestling for a long time, it was pretty obvious. And WWE is not really a company that is necessarily engineered towards somewhat of my demographic, that being some fat old dude. It's mainly for like kids, kids and preteens. So I'm sure this turn was super effective for them, but I just don't think it was super effective because I could very clearly see it coming. And especially at the end when Blake did grab the title, like instantly anyone who's ever seen a wrestling turn knew what was going to happen there. So it wasn't that surprising. And the moment didn't really have the impact it should have as a result. But talking about the match, I thought there was some really strong back and forth at the beginning. I thought it was an interesting choice given the story that they were telling, to make Jacy Jayne truly seem on the level of Jordynne Grace. I thought it would be more of an interesting story if Grace was just really dominant at the beginning and Jacy Jayne had to sort of fall back on Fatal Influence and have them cheat to help her get the advantages. And that did happen eventually, but they really presented it as sort of a 50-50 back and forth at the beginning. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because what we did get was very, very good. It sort of came off the rails with a few noticeable botches. The first one I remember was Jordynne Grace was going for sort of like a powerbomb facebuster, where she picked Jacy in a powerbomb position and then threw her back, and her face was supposed to hit the top turnbuckle. I assume that's what was supposed to happen, but she just sort of pushed Jacy Jayne up and she landed near the turnbuckle. And the crowd after that seemed to pull back a little bit because before that, they were all behind Jordynne Grace. The crowd was super, super behind her, and the wrestlers were doing a really, really good job about pulling the crowd in. But after, the crowd sort of went, maybe not. Maybe we're not as into this match as we were at the beginning. And it took them a while for them to get back into it, for the wrestlers to draw them back in. But it was really, really hard because it felt like the wrestlers lost some of their confidence, or maybe lost the flow of the match after that, because it was a little bit sloppy afterwards. Some missed timing, some botches sort of plagued some of the big moments of the match, and they didn't completely lose it. They still had a very good match, but it just wasn't up to the quality you would hope a Jordan Grace pay-per-view match would be. And I specifically single out Jordan Grace because she is sort of one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. Not to knock JC Jane, but I don't think she's viewed in that same category. But JC also needed a really good night here to elevate herself and cement her into that category. And I just don't think it happened. I, I don't want to see JC get a lot of the blame for this match sort of falling apart because I don't think it was her fault entirely. I just think it was chemistry issues between the two. And you see that all the time in wrestling. Two people just not having the best chemistry together. Even some great wrestlers just never had really good chemistry. And, it's just an unfortunate thing. The match was fine. I give it 3 3/4. The turn didn't really work for me. I thought it was a little telegraphed. The match sort of fell apart. If the match had gone the way it was going, I think it was 4 or above stars in quality, but there were just some obvious spots that drew me out. And they did pull me back in towards the end, but it was a little shaky at points. Next, we're talking about the women's tag title four-way. It was Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez versus the SmackDown team, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Raw team, Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane versus the NXT team, Zarya and Sol Ruka. God damn, I'm so good. I did that all off my brain. I thought this match was going to be so ass. I thought it was going to be really, really bad because some of the competitors involved I don't really rate as workers. Raquel Rodriguez, Sol Ruka, Zarya, even Kairi Sane since her return, Alexa Bliss since her return. Charlotte hasn't done a ton great recently. So I just wasn't really expecting a lot from this match. I was expecting it to be a spot fest, which it was, and a lot of the spots to sort of just be a little bit messy and not really flow together well. But I was so blown away by how good this match was. And when I say that, I'm not talking a match of the year contender. I'm not talking about a blowaway incredible match. It was just so much fun. And I think I liked it so much because my expectations were at the floor. And just as the minutes go on, my enjoyment level kept ticking on up. I thought there was so much to really, really love in this match. And agenting wise, fantastic. Everyone really had a spot to shine out in this match and really have a spot where they said, hey, we're throwing you in here. Do your best and really, really make the most out of it. And some did more than others. I don't think Charlotte looked great in this match, and Zarya was a little bit pantomime at points. But everyone really succeeded in the roles they were given, even the people who I wasn't too enthralled about. I just thought everyone really stepped up and the match flowed together so well. Spot fests like this can be really, really hard to put together because if someone is a little bit off time or something doesn't go quite right, the whole thing can start to crumble. And that just didn't happen here. Everyone was on it. All the spots really worked. It was just so much fun. And what I thought was interesting, similar to the first match, is I knew Judgment Day was going to win coming into this. But over the course of the match, there were points where I thought every other team was going to win. In particular, when Sol Ruka hit the Soul Snatcher, that just got a crazy pop from the crowd. I don't know if they've never seen it before or they are fans of NXT and know how good that move is, but everyone really popped for that. So I thought this was absolutely fantastic, and I loved the finish where Raquel power. I don't remember the exact order or the people it happened to. Raquel powerbombed someone out of the ring onto 3 other members. Roxanne did a dive out to the floor to take out another person, and then Raquel hit a Tijuana bomb on Sol Ruka to get the pin. It was just a very deliberate and intelligent way for them to win the match, and it really showed great tag team chemistry between them, which is so vital for the story they are attempting to tell of Roxanne sort of infiltrating Raquel Rodriguez's mind while Liv Morgan is away. You need to display this tag team chemistry that they have. And they did it through the action tonight as well as the booking of this finish. I really, really love this match. I thought that every place that it needed to succeed, it absolutely knocked it out of the park. I gave it 4.25 stars. In terms of action, it is probably a 4-star match, but I was so impressed with it and it so superseded my expectations that I gave it that extra quarter star. Really, really good stuff. Women's title match up next, Tiffany Stratton defending against Trish Stratus. I don't necessarily have a ton to say about this match in terms of, critical analysis. I thought that there was no drama to it really because there was no way Trish was going to win this match. And it was so dead nailed on that Tiffany was going to win. And unlike previous matches, the work was not necessarily good enough to make me bite on any false finishes. Having said that, it was very well worked. I think that the ceiling of this match was not incredibly high, but the floor was unimaginably low. This could have been one of the worst matches we've seen all year because a lot of times when you have older wrestlers coming back for a match for another ride, it's often not very good. But I think Trish looked really good in this match, and I think the match was engineered to make her look good, but she really lived up to that role. I felt the match was laid out perfectly. I have Cage Match pulled up. It was 8 minutes and 37 seconds. Perfect. That is the exact amount of time to where you can have the two go in there, hit some big spots, do some stuff that really pops the crowd, make Trish look good, make it a little bit competitive, but not so competitive that Tiffany looks out of her element defending against this person who hasn't really been around that long and didn't really give them room for error. I felt that it was booked perfectly, and the women who were competing in the match really nailed what they were supposed to be doing. Um, yeah, just generally good. I didn't love it. I don't think it was great. I don't really think there was anything to love other than Tiffany hit a swanton in this match that was friggin' crazy. It looked so good. And her prettiest moonsault ever obviously looked great. Not really a ton to love, but a lot of good stuff. Not a match you would ever really go back and watch, but on the night, I enjoyed watching it, and the crowd there really seemed to love it. So it served its purpose. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. No disqualification match up next. It was Naomi versus Jade Cargill. And if this match was ever to be good, a singles match between these two people, it needed Plunder Brawl stipulation. It needed smoke and mirrors to be good. And even then, it was a little bit bland. No secret, if you've watched me for a while, I'm not a fan of Jade Cargill. I'm not a fan of Naomi. I don't rate them as workers. I don't really like watching them that much. So coming into this match, my expectations and my investment were low. And maybe I thought less of the match as a result because I went into it going, okay, let's see what you got. And they didn't really have anything. Whereas if you went into this match and you thought, oh, I really love these people, I'm excited to see what they do, you would get more out of it and you would have more enjoyment out of this. But as it was, I thought it was a really bland plunder brawl. A lot of posturing and a lot of stalling in between moves. And the moves that we did see weren't really that creative or really inspired. It was just some chair shots, some kendo stick shots, a table spot here. Just nothing really, really great. There was one cool spot where Naomi drop kicked Jade into the announcer's table and the screen sort of blew up after that. Which was cool. But other than that, not a lot to love. I was also not, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the crowd in this match because this got "This Is Awesome" chants. And I was like, really? Is it? It's not. It's definitely not. And you've seen awesome stuff on this show. You saw the opening triple threat match, and you will get something awesome in the main event. But as is, you're not seeing anything awesome. And it was sort of like at this point, I was having a little bit of a disconnect with the crowd. So I really just didn't like a lot about this match. It was fine. It was fine. It was a fine plunder brawl. It happened in front of me. And for that, I give 3 stars. For match happened in front of me, it was a good match technically. Maybe I wasn't super invested into it. Maybe it didn't really show me anything new, but it happened. It was well worked. And that's the most I can say about it. So I gave it 3 stars. Battle Royal for a #1 contendership position at Clash in Paris. In terms of the booking, one of the more fun Battle Royals I have seen. In terms of the action and the work rate, probably one of the worst. Not a lot to love in this match, really. I feel like a lot of it was really, really sloppy. You had some people in there who aren't as experienced as you would expect on a platform like this. Some people from NXT, some people like, Maxine Dupree, who it's like, they're not really that good. And they're in there being expected to find their place in this very quick moving, fast changing match where they have to get in, do their spots at the right time, and then get out so someone else can do their spots. Obviously, there is going to be some messiness in there. Generally, I thought that there was a lot of fun ideas in this match, and some of the spots they planned were more fun than they were in execution. And I think it had a couple jobs in this match, and it failed at a lot of them. The main purpose was Stephanie Vaquer, who won the match, is coming out, and she is going to be our next big pushed star. So we need to make her look good. We need to make her look powerful and important in this match. And that only really works if she overcame a great struggle to win this. That's what the best Royal Rumbles do. They put a lot of adversity in front of a babyface who's going to win, and then give them the victory. So it really feels like they accomplished something and they came far to get the win. But this match was really not well worked, so you never got invested in the action. It wasn't hard hitting, it wasn't particularly dramatic. So when Stephanie won, you didn't feel like she's been through a conflict. You just felt like she was the best wrestler out of a field of not very good wrestlers. And I wasn't really impressed with this match as a result. I felt like this was the definite low point of the show and something that I sort of actively disliked watching, because after Jade versus Naomi, which was just boring and really hard not to go on my phone, this match happened, and it was sort of just killing the vibe of the show on the way to the main event. But the main event did save itself. Battle Royal, 2 stars. The main event for the Women's World Title Champion, IYO SKY, defending against Rhea Ripley. Was this the best WWE match of the year so far? I think it might have been. This match was incredible. I absolutely loved it. And they didn't have me from the beginning. In the beginning, I wasn't really loving it. I thought there were some spots that were weird, not like poorly executed, but just in thought processes, weird for them to include this. Some stuff that didn't really make the match seem like a struggle and make it seem a little bit more cooperative. Like when Rhea had IYO in the electric chair position on the outside of the ring and then sort of just put her on the apron so that she could do a moonsault off, an acai moonsault. Just some weird stuff like that. But that was mainly confined to the first couple minutes. And when this match started going, it went so hard. It had a match done and dusted in probably 17, 18 minutes when they did the ref bump and Rhea hit the riptide on IYO and got the visual pin. That's the end of a match. Like, there's another 2 minutes on a match after that, and then that is a complete match. What a ref bump teaches you is that's pretty much the end of the match. But there was like another 10 minutes after that where they went and they had this crazy, fantastic brawl into the crowd. And they just, like, every minute that passed after the ref bump, I went, I can't believe this is still going on. This is incredible. This is so much fun. I was really, really loving what I was seeing out of them. And just everything in the match really, really worked for me. I thought that the offense was always hard hitting and sequenced very well. And you would hope that would be a guarantee out of two women the caliber of Rhea and IYO, but that is not necessarily the case because we've seen them have matches before that are just all right. Like, I think they had a match on Saturday Night's Main Event earlier this year that, was pretty good, but nothing really that great. Maybe because they weren't given a whole lot of time, or maybe because they just didn't have the chemistry on this night. But any complaints you could hope to have were completely dashed in this match. It was so much fun and did such a phenomenal job about keeping you guessing the entire time. And while I was giving that explanation, I did look on Cage Match. This is the second highest rated WWE match of the year, behind the TLC triple threat from SmackDown. So I think definitely deserved. I think that this was probably better than the TLC match from SmackDown. This was a 5-star match through and through until the end. I did not like the end of this match. I didn't like Naomi cashing in. I felt like rather than being a surprise, it was an interruption. It interrupted this match that was just about to reach the crescendo, where they were going to start trading finisher attempts, maybe doing some kickouts of their big spots, the thing that would really put the 5-star stamp on this match. And we didn't get that. We sort of got the floor swept out from under us. What I would have preferred was another 2 or 3 minutes with just Rhea and IYO finishing the match, someone getting the pin, and then Naomi comes and cashes in afterwards. And maybe, like I said earlier in the video, I just don't really like Naomi. So when I saw this match that I absolutely loved going the way it was, and then Naomi comes in and stops that match, actively stops the fun I'm having, I was a little bit bitter about that. But I just don't think it was the right call for this moment. I feel like you could do it after the match, but during the match, it just sort of interrupted the momentum and sort of killed the fun that I was having. So I feel like it knocked it down from 5-star territory, which sucks so much because I haven't given a WWE match 5 stars this year. And I was almost giddy during this match going, I'm watching a 5-star match. There's just this feeling that I get where when I'm watching a 5-star match, I'm excited because I know I'm watching greatness. And I know I'm going to get to come on here and just lavish praise onto something that I love and talk about why I think it was a perfect match. And I had that feeling throughout this match. And then the end sort of just sucked the wind out of me a little bit. And I can't give it 5 stars. I give it 4 3/4 stars, and that is the closest to 5 stars a 4 3/4 star match could come to. I just feel like the booking sort of hampered the end. And those are my thoughts on Evolution. Am I being too much of a crumb bum about the cash in? And was Rhea versus IYO a 5-star match? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Did you think something other than IYO versus Rhea was match of the night? Was the women's triple threat opener match of the night? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And while you're down there, please leave me a like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, all that jazz, as it really does help a new channel like mine to grow. I want to thank all you guys very, very much for watching. I have been Isaiah from Hot Tag Wrestling, and I will see you guys next time.